The big black ship called UES Nightfall came out of faster-than-light travel near the Kethtar star system. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the command bridge and looked at the computer screens. His ship had been traveling for 3 months to get here. They were following emergency signals that had stopped 2 weeks ago. "Captain, I see broken ships everywhere," said Lieutenant Amy Chen. She was looking at her sensor readings. There was a big fight here not too long ago. Morrison felt worried. The Kethtar were famous across the galaxy as dangerous fighters. They stood 8 feet tall and had hard shell-like skin and sharp claws. They had built their empire by fighting and winning wars. Their home planet was a terrible place with acid oceans and plants that tried to eat anything that moved. Most aliens would die on that planet in just a few hours. "Can you find anyone still alive down there?" Morrison asked Amy. "Yes, sir, I see. Some life signs on the planet. But there is something strange here, too." Amy looked confused as she checked her readings again. "There are unknown ships flying around the planet. I have never seen ships like these before." On the main viewing screen, Morrison saw strange ships that looked like they were alive. The ships had smooth curves and glowing patterns on their sides that hurt to look at. The Nightfall's computers could not figure out what kind of technology these ships used. "Captain," called out Pete Williams from the communication station, "we are getting a message. It is coming in perfect English." The main screen changed to show a creature that looked impossible. Its body kept changing shape between solid matter and dark shadows. When it spoke, the air around it seemed to bend and twist. "Hello, humans from Earth. We are called the Veiltar. We have been waiting for you to come here. The Kethtar asked for help against us, but we knew you would arrive. We have watched your species for a long time. You are the only race in this galaxy that really knows about death." Morrison felt his blood turn cold. Humans had only joined the galactic community recently. Other aliens called them Deathworlders because Earth was such a dangerous planet to live on. But this creature talked like it had been studying humans for much longer than that. "What do you want from us?" Morrison asked in a hard voice. The creature's shape moved in what might have been laughter. "We want to test something we believe. The Kethtar think they are the strongest fighters in this galaxy. They have never really been afraid of anything. But humans are different. Humans grew up on a world that tried to kill them every single day for millions of years. You understand death in a way no other species does. You have made death your friend and your weapon." The alien stopped talking, and its ship started flying toward the planet below. Morrison turned to look at his crew. He could see the same determination in their eyes that he felt in his heart. "Everyone get ready for battle," Morrison ordered. "It looks like we are going to show these Veiltar what happens when someone tries to hurt our people." The crew of the Nightfall began preparing for war. In the weapons bay, soldiers checked their guns and armor. In engineering, technicians made sure all the ship's systems were working perfectly. In the medical bay, doctors got ready to treat wounded soldiers. Morrison walked to the captain's chair and sat down. He pressed a button that would let him talk to everyone on the ship. "This is the captain speaking. We came here to help the Kethtar because they asked for our aid. Now we find them fighting against an enemy we do not understand. These Veiltar creatures think they know what humans are capable of. They think they have studied us and learned our weaknesses. They are about to find out how wrong they are." He paused and looked around the bridge at his officers. Each one of them had grown up on Earth, the most dangerous planet in known space. They had survived hurricanes, earthquakes, disease, predators, and 1,000 other things that would kill most aliens instantly. The Veiltar say they understand death, but they have never met anyone from Earth. They have never faced creatures who were born in death, shaped by death, and who use death as a tool for protecting life. Today, we show them what real Deathworlders can do. The Nightfall began moving toward the planet, its black hull cutting through space like a blade. Inside the ship, 500 human soldiers prepared for a battle that would change how the galaxy saw humanity forever. As they got closer to the planet, the ship's sensors picked up more details about the fighting below. The Kethtar were losing badly. Their cities were burning and their armies were being destroyed by weapons that seemed to come from nightmares. But the humans were coming now, and humans had grown up in nightmares. They had learned long ago that the only way to beat a nightmare was to become something even more frightening. The ship of death was about to land on a world of death, and the Veiltar were about to learn why humans were the most feared Deathworlders in the galaxy. Small attack ships flew down through the poisonous air of the Kethtar planet like falling rocks. Captain Lucy Hayes led the first group of human soldiers. They all wore special armor that protected them from the deadly environment. Through her helmet window, she could see the Kethtar capital city below. The tall buildings were broken and on fire. "I see movement down there," said Sergeant Bill Cooper through the radio. "Some Kethtar are still alive in the big fortress, in the middle of the city. But there are other things moving around too." The Veiltar soldiers on the ground were like nothing the humans had ever seen before. They moved like liquid shadows, appearing and disappearing without warning. When they attacked someone, they did not just kill them. They seemed to suck the life right out of their victims, leaving behind empty bodies with no soul inside. Lucy's feet hit the ground and she started running immediately. All around her, the planet was trying to kill everything that lived on it. There were pools of acid that could melt metal and plants that tried to eat anything that came near them. But the human soldiers had trained for this kind of place. They had practiced fighting in the worst parts of Earth, and this was just another day at work for them. "Enemy in front of us," shouted Corporal Kevin Martinez. His rifle fired special bullets that could punch through almost anything. The Veiltar creature he shot at twisted and melted away, but two more appeared to take its place. The human soldiers fought their way through the broken city streets. They used smart fighting methods they had learned from wars on Earth. They used the dangerous environment to help them fight, leading Veiltar creatures into acid traps and making unstable buildings fall down on top of them. At the same time, Commander Rick Thompson and his team of engineers worked to build a safe area near the Kethtar fortress. The surviving Kethtar warriors watched in surprise as the humans not only stayed alive in their poisonous world, but seemed to do well in it. "Your people fight like devils," said War Chief Thekmol through his translation machine. His voice sounded like clicking and hissing sounds. "But the Veiltar are not from our reality. They come from the empty spaces between worlds, where death means nothing." Rick looked up from the protective walls his team was building. "That is good for us, because we brought our own death with us." High above in space, the big human ship called Nightfall was using all of its weapons. The ship was not just built for exploring space. It was made with all the knowledge humans had learned from thousands of years of fighting wars. Nuclear missiles flew down from orbit, and energy beams that could break apart planets fired at the enemy ships. But the Veiltar ships fought back with weapons that seemed impossible. They made reality itself bend and twist around their attacks, turning empty space into a weapon. The battle in orbit continued with neither side winning. On the ground, Lucy's soldiers had found the surviving Kethtar warriors. Even though humans and Kethtar were very different from each other, they both wanted to survive this fight. The Kethtar knew their planet well and could show the humans the best places to fight. The humans knew fighting methods that had been learned in the most dangerous places on Earth. "The Veiltar are gathering for one big attack," said a Kethtar soldier who was watching the sensors. "They are bringing something very large through their portal." Through the poisonous clouds in the sky, something huge began to appear. It was a Veiltar war machine as big as an entire city. Its shape kept changing as it came down toward the planet's surface. Lucy pressed the button to talk to the ship in orbit. "Nightfall, we need all the help you can give us down here. This fight is about to get much worse." The human soldiers looked up at the massive enemy war machine coming down from the sky. Most aliens would have run away in fear, but humans had grown up on a planet that tried to kill them every day. They had learned that when something big and scary wanted to hurt them, the best thing to do was hurt it back even harder. "All soldiers, get ready for the big fight," Lucy said into her radio. "Let us show these aliens what happens when they mess with humans." The Kethtar warriors standing near the humans felt something they had never felt before. The humans were not afraid of the giant war machine. Instead, they seemed excited about the chance to fight it. For the first time, the Kethtar began to understand why other aliens called humans the most dangerous Deathworlders in the galaxy. The battle for the planet was about to become much bigger, and the Veiltar were about to learn that humans did not just survive on Deathworlds, they brought the Deathworld with them wherever they went. Dr. Helen Park had been working for 6 hours straight in the science room of the Nightfall. She was studying a piece of Veiltar technology that the soldiers had captured. What she found was so strange that it changed everything humans thought. They knew about the universe. "Captain Morrison, you need to come see this right now," she called over the ship's communication system. "The Veiltar are not just using advanced technology. They are controlling forces that should not even exist." Morrison came to the science room and found his chief scientist surrounded by floating computer displays that showed impossible shapes. The captured Veiltar device sat in the middle of the room. Its surface moved like liquid metal. "They are not from our dimension," Helen explained to the captain. "They live in the empty spaces between different realities. They eat what they call life essence. But here is the really strange part. Every test I have done shows that they are made specifically to fight against all living creatures. All living creatures except for one type." "Let me guess," Morrison said with a worried voice. "Humans." "Exactly right. Our brain patterns, our genetic code, even the way we think about things. All of it seems to create some kind of interference with their abilities. It is like we naturally resist whatever force they use to drain life energy from their victims." Down on the planet, this resistance was becoming clear in the fighting that was still going on. The Veiltar creatures that had easily destroyed Kethtar warriors were finding human soldiers much harder to affect. Where a single touch could drain all the life from a Kethtar, humans could be touched multiple times before they started to get weak. Captain Sam Rodriguez led his Special Forces team through the underground tunnels of the Kethtar fortress. They were looking for the source of the Veiltar portal. The alien buildings were made for creatures much bigger than humans, but that actually helped the human soldiers. They could move through spaces that the Veiltar could not easily reach. "Enemy ahead," whispered Staff Sergeant Lisa Johnson. Her heat-detecting scope had found movement in front of them. It was a group of Veiltar infiltrators that had somehow gotten inside the fortress. But when the humans started fighting them, something unexpected happened. When the human soldiers got close to the Veiltar creatures, the aliens seemed to lose their ability to stay in their shadow form. They became more solid and easier to hurt with regular weapons. For the first time since the fighting began, the humans were starting to win. Back in space, the battle had reached a point where neither side could gain an advantage. The Veiltar ships had weapons that could bend reality itself, and they were very destructive. But they seemed to work less well against the Nightfall. Engineering Chief Carl White had made a disturbing discovery about how their ship was built. "Sir, I have been looking at the damage patterns on our hull," he reported to Morrison. "Our armor plating has trace elements from Earth in it. This includes iron from our planet's core. It is like the ship itself carries a piece of our homeworld's essence with it." Morrison began to understand what was happening. Earth had not just created a species that could survive anywhere. It had created people who carried death itself as part of their natural makeup. Not death as something to be afraid of, but death as a basic part of what it meant to exist. The huge Veiltar war machine had reached the planet's surface. Its reality-bending presence was making the very air shimmer and wave. But as it came into contact with large groups of human forces, it began to slow down. The creature seemed to be fighting against something it could not understand or control. "All units, move toward the big war machine," Morrison ordered from the ship. "We are going to show these creatures what humanity really means." The final big attack began with humans and Kethtar fighting together side by side. The partnership had started because they both needed to survive, but it showed something important about the nature of life in a hostile universe. The Kethtar were Deathworlders too, shaped by their planet's brutality into perfect warriors. But humans were something different and special. They were death made into living form, carrying the essence of their killing world with them wherever they went. As the human forces got closer to the giant war machine, its form began to become unstable. Its ability to exist between different dimensions was being disrupted by being near creatures who had evolved while constantly surrounded by death. For creatures that fed on life essence, humans represented something that was completely opposite to their very nature. The discovery was amazing and frightening. Humanity had not just survived on a death world. They had become death incarnate, walking antibodies against forces that wanted to drain all life from the universe. The Veiltar had made a terrible mistake. They had studied humans and thought they understood what made them dangerous. But they had only looked at human technology and human fighting methods. They had never understood that humans carried something inside themselves that was toxic to creatures like the Veiltar. Every human soldier, every human ship, every piece of human technology carried with it the accumulated experience of millions of years of death and survival on the most dangerous planet in known space. This essence of death was not evil or destructive. Instead, it was protective, like an immune system for the entire universe. The battle was about to reach its final stage, and the Veiltar were finally beginning to understand that they had not encountered just another species of Deathworlders. They had found the one species in the galaxy that could destroy them completely. The final battle took place in a space between different realities, where the Veiltar portal connected their invasion force to normal space. Captain Morrison had made the decision that would decide humanity's place in the galaxy forever. He was taking the Nightfall through the portal and into enemy territory. "Everyone get ready for dimensional travel," Morrison announced to his crew. "We are about to enter enemy space." The ship shook and groaned as it passed through the portal. The metal hull made loud noises under the stress of existing in a space that was not quite real. Around them, the Veiltar realm stretched out like a nightmare made of impossible angles and shifting shapes. But the Nightfall held together. Its earth-made metal acted like an anchor to reality. In this strange space, the true nature of the conflict became clear. The Veiltar were not just raiders looking for treasure. They were a cosmic force of destruction, moving from galaxy to galaxy and draining the life from entire civilizations. They had been doing this for millions of years, leaving behind empty dead worlds. But humanity's arrival had broken their pattern. The human crew of the Nightfall moved through the dimensional realm like medicine fighting a disease. Their very presence was causing the Veiltar constructs to lose their form and power. "Target the central control point," ordered Morrison. The ship's weapons had been changed to work in the strange physics of this realm. When the nuclear missiles exploded, they did not just release energy. They released entropy itself, turning the Veiltar's own nature against them. On the bridge, Amy Chen watched the energy patterns on her screens. "Sir, the portal is becoming unstable. If we do not get out of here soon, we might be trapped forever." But Morrison had one more plan to try. The Nightfall was not just a ship. It was a piece of Earth itself, launched into space carrying the essence of humanity's death world. In this realm where life and death were basic forces, the ship had become something never seen before. "Put all power into the main guns," Morrison ordered. "We are going to kill this thing the human way." The ship's main energy weapon fired, but the beam was different now. It carried with it the experience of every death on Earth, every extinction event, every moment when life had balanced on the edge of complete destruction. The beam struck the Veiltar control center like a spear made of pure mortality. The effect happened instantly. The Veiltar collective mind, a thing that had existed across dimensions for millions of years, simply stopped existing. It was not destroyed or damaged, but completely negated. The human understanding of finite existence had proven to be incompatible with their eternal nature. As the portal began to collapse, the Nightfall raced back to normal space. Behind them, the Veiltar realm folded in on itself. The inhabitants could not maintain their existence without their central control mind. Back on the Kethtar planet, the surviving Veiltar forces simply faded away like bad dreams at sunrise. The Kethtar warriors stood among the ruins of their capital city, looking up at the human ship that had saved their civilization from complete destruction. War Chief Thekmol approached Captain Hayes as she made sure the landing area was secure. "Your people have earned a debt that can never be repaid. The Kethtar will remember this forever." Hayes took off her helmet and breathed the poisonous air that would kill most species in just minutes. "We were just doing our job. In our experience, the universe is always trying to kill you. The trick is making sure you kill it back first." In the months that followed, word of humanity's victory spread throughout the galaxy. The species that had been dismissed as just another group of Deathworlders had revealed themselves to be something far more important. They were the universe's answer to forces of cosmic destruction, beings who could carry death itself as a tool for protecting life. The human victory over the Veiltar changed everything. Other alien species began to see humans differently. They were not just tough survivors from a dangerous world. They were guardians against threats that could end all existence. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered to discuss what humanity's victory meant for the future. Some aliens were afraid of human power. Others wanted to form alliances with Earth. "The humans have shown us something we did not know was possible," said the Alterian ambassador. "They have turned death itself into a weapon for preserving life. This changes the balance of power in our galaxy." The UES Nightfall returned to Earth orbit, its crew forever changed by their experience. They had learned that humanity's role in the galaxy was not just to explore new worlds or to fight in wars. It was to stand as protectors against forces that wanted to end all existence. As Morrison wrote his final report, he thought about the irony of what had happened. Humanity had been seen as death-bringers, creatures from a world so hostile that it had made them into perfect killers. But in the end, their close relationship with death had made them the ultimate defenders of life. Other ships began to be built using the same principles as the Nightfall. Each human vessel would carry with it the essence of Earth, making them mobile weapons against cosmic threats. The human fleet became known as the ships of death, not because they brought destruction, but because they brought protection. Captain Morrison stood on the observation deck of the Nightfall looking down at Earth. The blue and green planet looked peaceful from space, but he knew better. Every storm, every earthquake, every predator, every disease had helped forge humanity into what they were today. The ship that had arrived at the Deathworlders' homeworld had indeed been a ship of death. But it was death used in service of life, entropy turned against itself to preserve the order of existence. In a universe full of wonders and terrors, humanity had found its true purpose as the species that would make sure life itself survived to see another day. The galaxy would never be the same again. And for the first time in cosmic history, the forces of destruction had reason to fear the darkness, because in that darkness humans were waiting.